There are people that belong in the traditional criminal justice system, and there are people that deserve to have a way out. There are people that deserve to have options and opportunities because they're willing to earn them.
So my name is Shawn Wiesner. I am a Master Certified Success Coach, which is in human development and growth. I also bring to the table 16 plus years of corrections experience.
My name is Cameron-Inglis. I'm the CEO and producer for Mastermind Studios, a company that does a lot of video production in Kamloops, and we've done a lot of work from a therapeutic perspective, both in healthcare and now in criminal reform.
My name is Michael Koehn. I'm a registered clinical counselor. I work primarily in the areas of personal injury and criminal law. I bring to this project the mental health background, the rehabilitation side of the work, and working with offenders and assisting them to find a way forward.
The people I never thought to think about, the people, like the ones with a really bad problem, I never really pictured as like my stuff was getting in their hands, you just don't think that. Like I think I didn't want to think it more than anything. And also I just never really been around those people like that, right? Now I'm like in the thick of things, and you really see like, wow, like these people are, like they're just in a deep hole and they just keep digging down. They're not, nobody's helping them fill the hole and get them out. They just keep going farther. And I mean, I was one of the people that helped them dig themselves in that hole, right?
When you've been in the business of media production for a little while, you get to know whether a person is genuine or not. And that's not to say that we can't be fooled, but we pick up on cues that other people may not, because we see them repetitively.
The counseling process for an offender is based upon somewhat of a standard model. This model includes an exhaustive and detailed history and analysis of where you've been, where you are now, and where you plan on going. Each of those components is further broken down through a series of exercises, considerable homework, many hours spent in the chair, going through piece by piece, and really building on the awareness and understanding of what got you to where you are today. It has a lot of acknowledgement, a lot of truth. It's a supportive environment. It's incredibly painful.
When I was up here one time just meeting you and ran into this young gentleman that looked like he was, I'll just say, full of piss and vinegar and energy to do something different. And there was an attachment to him, but I didn't know him. I didn't know his background. I knew nothing about him. But you introduced him to me. And there was a, hey, that's a really cool guy. I'd like to get to know who that person is.
My first meeting with Claude, he seemed genuine, but the nature, the reason for our meeting was cause to be skeptical.
And then I really didn't get to know Claude until, I was given the opportunity to watch some of the videos and really attach to the person whom he was, versus what I would have maybe made judgment on if I would have just read it on a piece of paper. So, I got to be able to really attach to him through the videos. And then, of course, through the opportunity of meeting him one-on-one, and then just asking him what some of his goals were, where he was at, some real life things.
If I look at the past and dwell on it, I just get depressed, and I don't really want to do that. I mean, there's nothing I can do to change what I did or what I've done in the past. But I mean, with me moving forward and trying to change these things, I'm hoping that that has an effect, right?
Claude's unusual in the sense that he took to counseling readily. He was perfectly willing from the beginning to be truthful, honest, direct, and clear about his involvement, about his crimes, and never once strayed from the reality that he had committed these crimes. That's unusual. And with him, once we had gone through the standard program, he was eager and ready for more.
As a success coach, these are some things that we really focus on. It's not necessarily what we're saying, it's what we ask, and then what we have the opportunity to listen. And I got a real attachment to him of, I want to make a difference. I want to be able to do something for me that is different, but in turn, how I can assist other people to get through what I've already gone through. That was powerful for me because that's never been a conversation that I've ever had with that type of individual.
Well, I'm just hoping to like just open up this whole avenue of conversation and get some reforms in the jail to help these, like, as opposed to like victims, you know, like they need, like I said, they need help.
And so with Claude, because he's an exceptional individual, we decided to try something different. We decided to go deeper and continue to work through processing the work that we had begun, but in a much more concentrated fashion.
Once he was sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in now, and he had the lights shining on him, and he had the camera staring at him, and he had 3 of us grilling him with questions, telling him that, you know, if he got caught in one lie, that would be the end of the process, and we were done.
The process of filming is worth noting. In this process, Claude was sitting in front of a camera under hot studio lights for hours on end, talking through each and every aspect of what he had done, clearly detailing his involvement, his experiences, his thoughts, his feelings, all the while the cameras are rolling in his face. This kind of invasive therapy was only possible due to the fact that he was both willing and able to participate in it. It's an intense process.
I'm going to say that Claude, at the end of this month, Claude is actually going to give a speech to Rotary based on some of the success strategies and the self-reflection reform that's occurred within his life since he's been able to, number one, answer questions asked upon him that aren't that easily disclosed. So a part of it was disclosure of past history. Number two, the idea of being able to see himself on camera as a witness to feel that real in-depth learning and reflection of what he was up to. And number three, you know, where he's been offered strategies to be able to not just grow within, but now to take those strategies and take it to a different level of sharing that when he's inside the institution or family, friends, or anybody that's kind of stuck where he was stuck.
I had this ambition in life and a certain place I wanted to be, but I didn't want to do it the right way. And I just put too much value on material things. And now that I've had them and lost them, and I just don't really value that stuff anymore.
There was another element which was particularly important and is core to counseling. It's a process of feedback, where Claude was able to watch himself on camera, reacting to his own words, his own thoughts, his own feelings, which provided an additional level of feedback, which is quite rare. And for him, it was perhaps one of the most impactful aspects of this work.
He's also, one really cool thing is he's also made the realization of what he was doing and where it flowed to. Claude loves people. That's the difference. So he has a love and respect for people. And before, Claude's interaction obviously was just, you know, these people had a ton of money. So really, you know, what was, you know, they were going to buy it regardless. So I'm just being a businessman, not realizing with what he was selling them where that could end up going down to. Once he figured out where that was going down to, now all of a sudden that's where the awareness, and that's where he kind of went, I don't want to do that.
We get very excited about the work that we're doing here and the work that we've done with Claude, because we see that it's actually making a real difference, a real change in one individual.
Based on the conversations, based on him requesting a lot of the tools that I've already gained over the past, I'm going to say 25 years, his personal request to want and desire to take some of what I already have and utilize it for the perspective of continuing with his reform, obviously, but also being able to share that with others that are asking the questions while he's inside. Is, you know, Shawn, somebody asked me while I was in there, you know, how I would work on my goals. What do I tell them? That's cool. because now all of a sudden there's engagement. Or do you have anything that I could share with them? Oh, I do. So he's looking to draw in all these expert tools to, number one, access his ongoing development, and number two, because there's people reaching out to him within the correctional system, I want a way out too. You sound like you're on the right track. And that doesn't occur. Usually it's, he's lost his marbles, versus tell me more. I want to do what you did. And when you can get to that level of mentorship, that's amazing.
The next part of this is about deciding how to apply this to the greater good to give back to the community. So Claude has produced, in partnership with Mastermind Studios, a number of educational videos which are now going to be made available to the public. They're going to be made available for discussion, collaboration, feedback, which is an incredible amount of accountability. There's no hiding or secrecy here.
I can guarantee you, and I've already guaranteed Claude, he's going to face what in the online industry we refer to as trolls. He's going to face a lot of people that have a lot of hate on for him and what they feel he represents.
Give him the tools to succeed. Like a person, when he has a lot of more self-esteem and self-worth, does better in life. It's just known, right? Confidence and stuff like that. And most of these people they don't think they're good for much. You know, all they think about is their next fix. But you know, they're in there for a while. You give them a way out.
In my world, what I would love to see is a lesser sentence for Claude, yet community service that puts him in behind bars to share that opportunity that he's gone through. If I could pick a perfect world as he's being sentenced, that he is sentenced to, because realistically, some of the victims of his crime are there in the correctional system. They're up in the jail because they were the secondary dealers, they were the third parties, they were the users, couldn't get off, the ones that he didn't become aware of. And that's where it becomes so powerful with Claude, because all of a sudden this cellmate that's in there, he looks at them and goes, oh my goodness, I did that.
One of the key markers of an individual who is likely to be successful in rehabilitation is consistency. Claude Auger has maintained his consistency over 26 months of counseling. He's had opportunities to leave, never taken them. He's subjected himself to increasingly more intense scrutiny, starting with the counseling traditional program, moving on towards the videotape program, furthered to the review of himself within the video, and his ongoing participation in the success coaching components of this program. He's participated fully and consistently across every one of these avenues.
Nobody has ever heard of an offender coming right out and saying, you know what, I admit it, I'm guilty, and I want to reform, and I'm going to own that, and I'm going to take control of that. I'm not going to wait for someone to tell me to do it. I'm going to start doing it myself.
I know I'm not going to commit anything else because I don't want to go to jail for one thing, and the other thing is I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. You know, like I lived my life a long time of looking over my shoulder, stress and just paranoia and all that. And this is probably another thing that changed my personality back in the day. You constantly like, you know, doing this all the time. It's weird. I don't get heartburn as much as I used to. I don't have anxiety like I used to sometimes. It's like the whole change of lifestyles, I think, what changed me.
My biggest fear for Claude is that he is sentenced to 10 years or sentenced. Let's not put a time frame to it, and gets actively involved with the environment that occurs behind the bars and comes out and goes, I did my best. I've met some great people on the inside. We're going to do business together, because that's where people end up. And you become who you hang out with majority of the time.
Claude Auger is an individual I would consider the portrait of a model offender. He's acknowledged and accepted his role and participation in his crimes. He's taken steps that are measurable, demonstrable, and consistent to achieve the goals of denouncing, deterring, and providing rehabilitation for the life he has created as a result of his crimes.